listening to the Dynamic Women podcast. Each week, you'll be inspired by our global community of women. They'll share with you tools and stories to help you be dynamic in every area of life. Here's your host, award-winning coach, and the CEO and founder of Dynamic Women, Diane Rolston.
Hello. I'm talking today about what do you do when things go crazy? What do you do when you feel overwhelmed? What do you do when there's something big that has happened to you and you can't focus and you're not yourself? You get a huge project and you just don't have the time to do it. You're sideswiped by a personal illness or an injury or one of a loved one, or there's a death in the family. You just can't focus. That time when you feel so overwhelmed with everything and you can't do what you need to do. Or maybe it's a time like now with coronavirus where you're just not yourself, or financially you feel overwhelmed, or whatever it may be. I'm going to talk today about what immediate actions that you can take or what you can do to prepare for this happening so that you can stay on top of things and not be overwhelmed. I have been quieter on here because I was going back home for a routine visit with my family, and my dad, who has had cancer for a year and a half, got an infection. I'm not fully talking about this. I just want to let you know where I'm at. He got an infection and he ended up needing to go to the hospital. He couldn't basically move his legs, and it turned out that it just moved through his whole body, and he ended up in palliative care, and after about a week and a half, he passed away. And so I haven't gone live on here because I've been taking care of myself, and I thought, it's not just about taking care of yourself, it's knowing what to do when life gets overwhelming. And then it's also knowing how to prepare for times when life gets overwhelming. And I'm currently in my bedroom because my mother-in-law is visiting us for 2 weeks. She's taking the kids out right now. I want you to know what to do. This is something that I often do with my clients, but I want to kind of take us through a few things. Take us through like how you could feel, why this could happen, and the negativities of this thing, and then like what you can actually do to get going. And if at any point you're like, man, I need some support, reach out to me. Okay. And don't feel like, well, Diane's in grief right now and she's mourning. Trust me, I'm doing me right now. And I'm focusing my time on my group clients in my She's Gold program and in my one-on-one clients. So don't worry, I've cut everything else out, and I'll explain that a little bit more too. So, okay, here's kind of the step-by-step process of how things happen. Problems arise, right? Problems come up. I've listed a whole bunch of problems that can happen. What I often hear in clients, and tell me if this has ever been true for you. So something major happens, right? Like a spouse is diagnosed with some sort of illness, or like for me, my son broke his femur. So maybe share with me some other things or think for yourself, other things that have happened that completely like shook up your world. Coronavirus might be one thing. It could be like your company goes under, the company that you're working for goes under. I've seen that happen many times. It could be that you need to, like, if you're working a business, because I have to often work with business clients. If you're working a business and then you need to go back to work for whatever reason, for benefits or just to have a steady income, whatever it may be. So life changes. Okay, let's get that first step. Life changes somehow. And after life changes, you feel many feelings. You feel overwhelmed, you feel stressed, you feel annoyed, you feel frustrated, you feel angry, you feel lost. You're like, how can I get through this? You can't focus. What are some other feelings? There's probably a lot more. Probably ones like fatigue, annoyance, lower patience. My goodness, that was one of mine. Lower patience. I just haven't had patience with my children. So I've had to have some like mommy timeouts. And then what does this cause in us? So it causes us, like when we're juggling, if you can imagine you're juggling all 10 areas of life. So you're juggling the kids, and you're juggling your marriage, and you're juggling your house, and you're juggling your health, and you're like, you get that picture, right? You're juggling 10 things. And when one of those balls becomes heavier or more demanding, you tend to drop the other balls. And the issue with dropping the balls is that some of them are made of glass. And when you drop them, they will break. And when you drop them, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have potentially long-lasting negative effects from it, right? So I have some clients who have different medical conditions that they were basically given at birth. And they know that they can't get over fatigued because it will be detrimental to them. So all of these things happen on kind of like you end up dropping a ball. Maybe you break some relationships. Maybe you lose some clients in your business. Maybe it's, detrimental to your children. Whatever happened, like some things start to happen. You don't respond to emails in time. You're not fully prepared for a presentation. You don't end up landing a client because you're showing up in a different way. And you don't want that to happen. I know you don't. And so why do you struggle? You struggle because one area of life that's only supposed to be a certain size has now become bigger. When it's bigger, it takes more of your time. It takes more of your mental capacity. And, this can happen in work, whether you're in a 9 to 5 or a business where you have a big deadline. And just like exam period, you start focusing and preparing for the exam, which also means that other things start to slide. And so maybe you notice in these times when you're working harder in your business or in your job, you have less time for your health. You're not sleeping as well. You're eating poorly. You don't see your friends. You're not sleeping properly. Like all these negative things come in. And then when you're not at your peak in your performance and your health, it starts to affect confidence, and it affects your ability to deal with things and your intelligence and how well you can actually put out things, put out projects and complete things. And so you struggle because there's limited time and limited mental capacity that you have. Plus, I'm not even like fully going to get into it, but the emotional strain. Like, I'm sure you've had someone pass, or you've had a kind of a tragedy, or you've had someone in your life have an illness, or you've been under that stress of a big project or a big deadline, and emotionally you're not solid. Emotionally, you're not where you need to be. And that affects you in many other areas. So ideally, what you are going to do for this is you're going to have this prepared in advance. And for any of my one-on-one clients, or for any of my She's Gold clients, if you haven't done this, please do it. And if you haven't talked with me about this and you want to, then choose to do so. That'd be great. Because you want to be able to do this in advance so you know what to do when it hits the fan. I'm not going to go into the root of what you do during grief, what you do after trauma, what you do in those cases, right? Because there's a lot of self-care, counseling, reach out to friends. There's a lot of that stuff. What I'm focusing on today is what you do when there's like chaos, when there's lots going on, no matter what area of life, right? If I just stuck with grief or whatever, it's not going through every area. So here's what you need to do if you find yourself in this chaotic state and you need to get yourself back on track. And then I'll share with you how you can do this in advance. So life is crazy. You're like, oh my goodness, this is like too much. You need to just stop. Now, if you have already worked with the Wheel of Life and you know that, then I would go to that. But if you don't use the wheel of life, then just think of life right now and think, what are the most important things in life right now? What are my priorities? What are the things that have to get done? So the most important of what things have to get done, what things need to get done, and what do I need to be able to function? Okay. So in this moment, you might think, I need really good sleep. I need to cancel kind of social activities. I need to still be there for my children, but maybe another parent or a grandparent, some other adult can kind of step in and help out. Um, and so those are like the three things: sleep, taking care of your kids, and maybe finishing the project. Those are the three things that need to happen. So in that moment, you've just decided what are the most important balls, what are the glass balls that if you were juggling, you can't drop. You've just decided. And so the cool thing is, you can kind of let all of the other things sit on the back burner. You don't have to worry about them. Take them off your plate. Don't even think about them. Now, you need to obviously, like, keep your commitments, check in with people, just like ignore people. But just to give you an example, so, when my dad got sick, I was like, okay, my one-on-one clients and my She's Gold clients are the ones I'm focusing on. My marketing calendar doesn't really matter. My Facebook lives I do on Tuesdays, I was like, I'm just going to put up other videos I've already done and I'm not going to do them. I had some interviews set. I had some meetings set, postpone them all. I was in some training classes, not important right now. I had a couple mastermind calls where I was a participant. And it was a more casual thing, like a monthly check-in kind of thing. And it was just a casual thing, not a huge commitment to the group. Just an opportunity to be part of a community. And again, I just put those on the side. And I focused on my family, my well-being, right? Sleep and some yoga and such, and those one-on-one clients and my She's Gold clients. That's it. That's what I focused on. Nothing else. I checked in with my husband a little bit. I checked in with my friends a little bit, but everything else I let go. So this is called maintenance mode. Go into maintenance mode. What do you need to just maintain your life? This is not meant to be long-term by any means. This is not meant to be something that you go into all the time, but you need to know what your maintenance mode is. So right now, for those of you, if you could plan for your life, or if you're in craziness right now, what areas of life are super duper important that you need to prioritize them, even in maintenance mode? What are those areas? And if you need to get more specific, like for me, it was serving my clients. That was most important in my business. All the other things, not as important. Because what I see in one-on-one clients is they get into this chaos. They still are trying to juggle every single ball as if they're all glass balls, but they're not glass balls. Your house can be dirty. It can be. You don't have to make every meal from scratch. Instead, you can use one of the meal services. And if you're like, I don't have a lot of money, well, then get creative in how you kind of quickly meal prep or prep a meal like for 3 days, right? Make a big pot of chili. So your health can slide. Your health cannot slide. Your house can slide. Your landscaping can slide. Maybe like a time with friends needs to slide. Your keeping up with your Netflix, that can slide. And maybe you do prioritize your marriage, or you prioritize your friends or your kids or family or whatever it may be, but you need to see what it is for you. So during this time, I'm kind of letting my house slide a little bit. I'm letting doing some big business growth jumps slip. And not by slip, I mean, I'm just putting them on the back burner. They're just not a huge priority right now. I've said no to many opportunities that have come my way. It just is not the right time for me. So you need to figure out what maintenance mode is for you. And usually that's like 3 or 4 areas of life. And so I'll go through the areas of life so that you can decide for yourself. And I would love to hear from you. I'd love to know what the areas of life are for you. So which ones would you pick? Which 3 or 4 are most important in maintenance mode for you? And I also have to say that different maintenance mode times will need different areas of life. Okay, so friends, family, your significant other, your like romantic life, your partner. And if you don't have one, that's fine too. But maybe you don't try dating. And your fun and recreation, your finances or your money, your business, your personal development, your spiritual life, career, money, personal development, education, your spiritual life, your significant other romance, friends and family, health, physical environment, and fun and recreation. So those are the areas you decide for you. What are your 3 or 4 that you need in maintenance mode? What are the ones that are most important to you? And I encourage you to devise a plan for when things get crazy, when you can't juggle everything anymore. For me, going into maintenance mode is like an automatic. If you think of people in the army, they have trained for like, what am I gonna do when this specific thing happens? And if you already know what you're going to do when shit hits the fan, it's so much easier. You can just go on autopilot. You're like, I'm just gonna let my friends know that I'm busy. I'm gonna cut out any extra things that don't matter as much right now. I'm gonna either hire a cleaner or ask for help or let my house slide. I'm not gonna like my house cleanliness slide. I'm not gonna push it. I'm gonna make sure I get enough sleep, or I'm gonna be okay with getting 6, 7 hours of sleep rather than 5 hours, right? So you have a plan. That's when you order in a few times that week, or you have someone pick up dinner, or you already have in the freezer. This is a great thing. You already have in the freezer things that you can throw in your crock pot or your Instapot, or you have already meals in the freezer. That's why when there's trouble in another family, meal trains are like the coolest thing that we can do. The greatest thing that we can do for others is take away. And what I found, because I had a meal train done for me when my son broke his femur, what it does is it's not just that there's a meal. That's not just it. It's that you've given them proper nourishment. It's that they didn't have to go grocery shopping. They didn't have to think about what to eat. And what I didn't realize is there's less dishes because they don't have to clean um, the big pots and stuff that are being used. So anyway, Chantel's saying no to say yes. I love that phrase. Yeah, that was one of my guidelines a couple years ago, saying no to say yes. And what that means is say no to things that aren't as important. Say no to things that just aren't in alignment with you. Say no to things so that you can say yes to the things that you love, the things that are important, the things that matter most, those glass balls you need to be able to say yes to. So let me know what was most important for you in what I shared today. And if there's, if you have any questions or whatever, or you're needing to figure out your own maintenance mode plan, and I tell you, it's different for everyone, and it's kind of surprising for some people. They're like, oh, I didn't realize that. And that's the power of coaching, of talking back and forth. So if you'd like to make your maintenance mode plan and to go through the wheel of life, then let's have a conversation. Or if you need to process something, then reach out to me, DM me, or email me, Diane@DianeRolston.com. Love you all. Thank you so much for your kind messages over the past while. It's been a roller coaster, I'll tell you that. To go from a regular family visit to a sick parent to palliative care to death is a crazy time. So I appreciate all of your love, and please know that I'm good. I'm good. I'm working through it. I'm giving myself the time and care, so I'm going to be a bit quieter, and that's okay. So big love to you all, and bye everyone.
Thank you, Dynamic Women, for joining us today. Please hop on over to iTunes to subscribe and leave us a review. Who do you know who needs to hear our message? We'd love it if you'd share our channel with your friends and family. If you're ready to be more dynamic, have more balance and more success, head over to www.dynamicwomenclub.com/free gift for your Key to Success book. Stay dynamic.